UFO News Clipping Service, hereafter referred to as UFONS, KW. Mo, Eastware, China. According to Zhou Guoxing, an anthropologist at the Peking Museum of Natural History, the Chinese Academy of Sciences has been investigating reports of a Bigfoot-like creature in Hubei province since 1976. This creature is said to stand around 6 to 7 feet tall, covered in reddish, wavy hair that falls to its waist. Its feet are described as having no arches, and the 3 smallest of its 5 toes are not fully separated. Footprints measuring 12 to 16 inches long have reportedly been found, along with samples of fecal matter and hair. An upcoming issue of Fortean Times, number 31 from England, is expected to publish a report on this Chinese Bigfoot. Source: New York Times, May 15, 1980, Chicago Tribune, May 16, 1980, GR and Jackson Beck, Rasputin, Nepal. Nepal. In November 1979, a British expedition in the Hinku Valley returned with photographs of strange, human-like footprints found at an altitude of 17,250 feet. These tracks, about 8 inches long and 5 inches wide, featured 4 toes and a thumb-like digit. The climbers, led by John Edwards, a squadron leader with the Royal Air Force, also reported hearing a piercing, inhuman scream that lasted 5 to 10 seconds. Edwards, who had previously dismissed such reports, now believes there is indeed a strange, unexplained creature in the Himalayas. Another team member, British postal executive John White, speculated the footprints may have been left by a pair of Yeti, possibly with offspring. Fecal specimens were collected, and White maintained that the prints were sharp-edged with no evidence of melting, ruling out misinterpretation of known animal tracks. Source: Kirkland, Washington Journal American, December 25, 1979. California. According to Wayne King of the Bigfoot Information Center in Michigan, a Bigfoot carcass was reportedly discovered in Northern California in 1967. This was brought to their attention in December 1979. The witness, a 23-year-old woman from Washington State, described the carcass as 8 feet long with ape-like hands and copper-colored nails. The chest had been torn open, exposing the ribs. While a similar case from years ago was never rediscovered, King expressed hope that some remains from this latest case might still be found. Source: Iowa, October 1979, Webster City, Hamilton County. Iowa. In mid-October 1979, a man scouting a hunting area north of Webster City reported seeing 2 7-foot-tall, reddish-brown creatures walking away from him in the light of his flashlight. A year earlier, another hunter in the same area reported a strange odor and heard noises, but saw nothing. In November 1979, a farmer from Minburn in Dallas County saw a dark, hunched-over figure moving through his farmyard under a security light. Michigan residents of Vantown, Ingham County, reported seeing a large creature and noticing strange odors and sounds in fall 1979. A large handprint was found on a parked vehicle, and a farmer reported disturbances among his pigs. Wayne King investigated further reports in Benzie County, but heavy rains hampered efforts to follow up on Bigfoot tracks near Hewlett. 9 witnesses claimed to hear eerie whistling sounds while bow hunting in the area. Nevada. In January, a reliable employee at the Nevada test site reported seeing a 6 to 7 foot tall, hairy, man-like creature wandering along a road in the nuclear testing grounds. The creature was described as being covered in dark hair. Pennsylvania. In early January 1980, 17-inch long, 5-toed footprints were found running along a road near New Albany in Bradford County. The prints were spaced 4 feet, 9 inches apart and showed no arch. Source: Freeman Journal. South Dakota. In fall 1979, a creature between 4 and 5 feet tall and black in color was spotted in Cottington County. An associated odor was reported to be even stronger than that of a skunk. Source: Freeman Journal. Tennessee. In September 1979, a large, hairy creature was reported in Middle Tennessee near White House. It was blamed for the deaths of 2 pigs and 5 dogs over the summer. A Wildlife Resources Agency officer noted that these animals had no visible wounds, but their intestines appeared to have been squeezed out. Source: Freeman Journal. Washington. On November 23, 1979, just after midnight, a large creature stopped 3 cars on Route 7 near La Grande. Witnesses described the creature as 9 feet tall, weighing approximately 800 pounds, with reddish-brown fur and 4-foot-wide shoulders. Source: Freeman Journal. By Mike Hardin, Scripps Howard News Service. "Don't shoot Bigfoot," begged the headline of a recent edition of the Newcomerstown News. The plea reflected concerns voiced by Don Keating, one of Tuscarawas County's more intriguing characters, on the eve of deer season. Keating, 27, is the founder and president of the Eastern Ohio Bigfoot Study Group, as well as the self-published author of the Eastern Ohio Sasquatch. Once a month, Keating gathers a group of true believers at Newcomerstown's Duke's Inn Motel, where they exchange information on sightings, examine footprint casts, and study blurry, hazy photographs. Some believe the images show Bigfoot, while others attribute the figures to tricks of light, emulsion errors, or even an errant hairy thumb captured in the frame. I've spent time with Keating in his living room, poring over his photographic evidence. The images represent the determination of a man obsessed with proving that something unknown is lurking in the Ohio woods. As hundreds of deer hunters prepared to flood the forests around Newcomerstown, where Keating claims there have been 36 Bigfoot sightings this year alone, his concern grew. "There's always the danger that someone will see something they think is a bear and shoot," he said. "My main worry is that some nut will go into the woods thinking, 'I'm gonna bag Bigfoot.'" Now that deer season has ended, it's safe to presume Keating's elusive quarry dodged the hunter's bullets. Keating is convinced Bigfoot is out there somewhere. He searches for the creature 3 or 4 times a weekend, armed only with a Sears camcorder. Just a week before the start of deer season, Keating and a friend spotted a shadowy figure about 300 yards away in a field. Encouraged by the sighting, Keating allowed the Newcomerstown News to print his phone number so hunters could report their own encounters. None did. "There were hundreds of people in the woods out there," Keating later complained, "and somebody must have seen something." What exactly should they have been looking for? What image of Sasquatch should bow hunters and black powder enthusiasts carry into the woods? There's no consensus on Sasquatch's exact appearance. Some describe it as brown, others as black. The number of toes ranges from 6 to 5, or even 4. How tall is it? No one knows for sure. "There's always the danger someone will see something they think is a bear and shoot," Keating reiterated. He acknowledged that a few self-appointed authorities on Bigfoot exist, though he cautioned that, in Bigfoot circles, they're not exactly credible. Most people agree on 3 things about the creature. It smells bad, it seems to like women, and it scares off game as it lumbers through the woods. On the last day of deer season, though, that description could easily apply to any of the hunters. If the creature was out there, Keating mused, and I know it is, they had to run into it. Earlier this year, in May, Keating examined a set of footprints measuring 17.5 inches long and 9 inches wide at the ball of the foot. The prints, with a stride of 4 feet, appeared to have been made by a creature scaling a 45-degree slope. Startled teen reports, Bigfoot sighting in Hampton, by Paul Bartholomew, reporter, The Whitehall Times. A startled teenager may have recently spotted a creature resembling the legendary Bigfoot or Sasquatch in Hampton. The 16-year-old, who wished to remain anonymous, reported seeing a dark figure lurking by the roadside along Route 22A South. The sighting occurred at approximately 3 p.m. on August 18th. The teen claims to have observed the creature for about 3 seconds before both he and the figure fled in opposite directions. "I saw its back. It was big and dark and the fur was matted," the youth recounted. A dog that crossed the road near where the figure had been standing started whining and quickly ran off, adding to the eerie atmosphere of the encounter. On August 24th, the mystery deepened. The teen and a friend camped near the site of the sighting, hoping to catch another glimpse. Around 2 a.m., they felt as though they were being watched. "I stared at it, and it stared back. Then it just kind of went away," said the youth, recalling the experience. He described seeing 2 glowing red eyes approximately 6 feet off the ground, a sight that was certainly hard to miss. Dr. Warren Cook, professor of history and anthropology at Castleton State College in Vermont and a Bigfoot expert, was contacted about the sighting. Researcher Paul B. Bartholomew, who investigated the case, found two possible footprints at the campsite near where the red eyes were seen. The prints measured 10.5 inches long and 4.5 inches wide, with a stride of 56 inches between them. Interestingly, the date of this sighting coincided with the anniversary of the 1976 Bear Pond Whitehall sightings, where as many as 9 witnesses, including law enforcement officers, reported seeing a large, hairy, red-eyed creature walking on 2 legs and disappearing into the woods. Dr. Cook believes the timing of these sightings is likely not coincidental. If these creatures migrate and feel safe along a particular route, it makes sense they would stick to it, he explained. On August 28th, high-pitched screams were heard coming from the woods at around 1 a.m. The eerie sounds, which lasted for 30 seconds with 4-second intervals between them, echoed through Hampton for nearly 3 minutes. Skunk Ape Sighted in Suburbs by Joyce Beard, Palm Post staff writer. Could the elusive Florida skunk ape have abandoned its Everglades home for the suburbs of West Palm Beach? 7 children reported seeing what appeared to be a skunk ape in a wooded area on Ranch House Road, near their homes. They claimed to have first seen it on Tuesday and again the following day. "I may be a little kid, but I know what I saw," said 9-year-old Lori Holmes. Lori and the other children described the creature as standing between 6 and 7 feet tall, with dark, matted hair, long arms, sharp teeth, and 4 toes. "It could be a man dressed in a suit, but I don't think it was," said 10-year-old Tommy Streeter. "I saw it running on its hind legs with its arms curled out. When it turned around, I noticed a white streak on its back." Tommy and his friend, Mike Edwards, first spotted the creature on Tuesday from about 100 yards away. "We were walking down the path when we saw something black and hairy in the bushes," said Mike. "It made some deep, scratchy sounds from its throat and we got scared and started running." They also reported seeing the creature reach out from the window of an abandoned shack near the path they used to walk to Meadow Park Elementary School. "It had bare skin on its knuckles," said Mike. "It just reached out the window." Mike's mother, June Edwards, admitted she may have overreacted when the children reported seeing the skunk ape. "But if something is wrong in the area where our kids walk to school, I don't think it hurts to check it out," she said. She called the sheriff's department to report the incident. Mrs. Rita Carr, whose son Scott also saw the creature, was skeptical. "These kids have heard about the skunk ape and have vivid imaginations. It shows how kids can experience mass hysteria just like adults," she said. The Florida skunk ape, so named because witnesses claim it smells like a skunk and has a white stripe, has been spotted intermittently throughout South Florida since 1971. The most recent prior sighting was on January 9th when a man named Richard Smith reported hitting an ape-like creature with his car on US 27 west of Hollywood. A Winnipeg man has gone from skeptic to believer after a close encounter with what he believes was Bigfoot. According to Bill Mason, the Manitoba Regional Director of the Michigan-Canadian Bigfoot Information Center, the 71-year-old man, who asked to remain anonymous, was driving north on Highway 59 near Rosa on April 9th when he spotted something unusual standing in the southbound lane. He said it was 7 feet tall and covered in brown hair. At first he thought it was a gorilla, Mason explained. The man pulled over and watched the creature through his rear window as it crossed the road and disappeared into the ditch. No other cars were around at the time. "He realized what it was and got pretty shaken up," Mason said. "It just waltzed across the road." Mason, planning a series of weekend expeditions into the bush, admits he's not sure what he'd do if he encountered Bigfoot himself. "I used to be an advocate for shooting, but now I think I'd settle for a clear photograph," he said. While sightings in Manitoba have been sparse in recent years, the Highway 59 incident stands out. "People have said they've seen things, but nothing like this," Mason added. One area where Bigfoot has reportedly been spotted is the Roseau River Reserve, where residents claim to have heard the creature screaming at night or splashing in the river. Mason, however, has not yet visited the area. As Mason prepares for his expeditions in the Pine Falls Grand Beach region, he acknowledges the difficulty of finding the elusive creature. "If you could get to the spot within an hour of a sighting, you'd have a much better chance," he said. In another local mystery, it's been a year since a goat-headed sea monster was reportedly seen in the Winnipeg River near Pine Falls. "The details are sketchy," said Chris Rutkowski, a Winnipegger interested in UFOs and other phenomena. A few people in a boat allegedly ran over something that surfaced, revealing a dark creature with a long neck and a head resembling that of a goat. However, efforts to track down the witnesses have failed. Facts Walk in the Shadow of Legend, by Jim Wright, Summit Tribune outdoor editor. He lives up there, somewhere in the mountains, wandering the moonlit ridges and secluded valleys. His presence is only known by the occasional shriek, famous footprints, and what can be politely described as a severe case of body odor. He's Bigfoot Sasquatch, the American Yeti, a creature of lore and legend, seemingly out of place in the 20th century of computers and nuclear technology. Yet, if you believe your fellow man, he's out there. Bigfoot has been sighted in Utah multiple times, from the Uintas to Tremonton. In a well-known case, one of these creatures was reported wandering along the Weber River in 1980. Sightings surged in the late 1970s and early 1980s. In 1977, Jay Barker and Larry Beeson, hiking with a group in Cuberant Basin, spotted what Barker insists was Bigfoot near a lake. They watched the creature for 4 minutes until it ambled off into the timber. Barker described the creature as 10 feet tall, with a white mantle of hair over its shoulders. Conservation officer Jerry Dahlberg led an expedition to Cuberant Basin, but found no signs of Bigfoot. No tracks, no feeding evidence, no resting spots, and no odor. Ryan Layton of Layton, Utah, has collected over a dozen stories of northern Utahns encountering Bigfoot. In 1983, while camping in the Uintas, Layton and a friend heard a bizarre, loud scream that they couldn't explain. It was too powerful to be human, Layton recalled. One of the most compelling stories comes from Larry Darley, who, in 1979, was elk hunting near Mount McKinnon when he and his wife encountered a large, hairy creature at a waterhole. Darley, unnerved, watched through his rifle's scope as the creature stared back. Its face took up the whole scope, Darley said. It looked like a blonde ape with sharp teeth. Although Darley had his rifle ready, he never fired, leaving the creature and the mystery intact. Anthropology professor Grover Krantz argues that a body is needed to definitively prove Bigfoot's existence. It's essential we get one body to analyze, he says, noting that the species could go extinct without us ever understanding it. Krantz believes Bigfoot is a shy nocturnal creature, typically 8 feet tall, weighing around 800 pounds and mostly vegetarian. Skeptics often ask why no one has found a Bigfoot body. Krantz responds, "It's rare to find the body of a bear that's died naturally in the mountains, so it's not surprising we haven't found a Bigfoot." That wraps up these fascinating, untold Bigfoot sightings. Do you think these encounters are real or just part of the legend? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and share your experiences with us. Your support helps me continue to bring you more incredible stories as we dive deeper into the world of Bigfoot. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.